being like close to the camera, watching the actors, watching the camera, feel it. You know, at some point, Lara and Myron, they're one.
That is a question I get asked all the time across not just Athena, but all the time. And for me, like the tool, the gimbal, the Freefly Movie is my choice. The tool, you know, you lose function of the tool if you use the Easy Rig or any of these vests that you have now. You want to be able to go from low to high to leading, following. And of course, sometimes, I don't know if you saw previously in the post, there was that I did with 2 monitors on. Sometimes you need to have more than one monitor to be able to see, because I operate first person majestic mode. So you need to be able to have that tool to its full capacity. You know, you can't have an Easy Rig and you're stuck at chest height when you need to be running and leading an actor on his face and dip down to the feet. And if you're doing cuts, you know, seconds here, seconds there, it's okay to rest. Obviously takes a lot of training, and my training is basically just carrying the camera all the time. So apart from some days off here and there where I do some gym and some fun, but mostly the more you carry it, the more you get used to it, and it becomes sort of easy, I guess, or you just forget about the weight in your hands and focus so much on the picture.
I think if it was doing the same take, but it was not interesting and intense, maybe you should have much more pain. But because it was so intense, no, I'm sure. When I operate, I get the same feeling. Yes. Sometimes you're there, you wanna. It has to be a bit physical to feel it, you know. And Lara, I saw sometimes you use one monitor, no monitor. How did you decide that?
It was of the complexity. For example, the opening shot in the police station. I had it was the chaos and very small place, and so we were 4 with the sound with the grip, some going to the couloir. How you said couloir? Corridor. Yeah. So it was I had no space to have the monitor and no time, because everything was going very, very fast. And after the shot, I run and I jump into the ambulance, and I was very lucky to be very very small.
A compact package. Let's not call it small.
Because
dynamite comes in small packages. They say.
Yeah, because the place in this ambulance was very, very, very tight. And even Myron, when he saw my space, he said, "You're gonna go there." I said, "But you know, we don't have choice." So
it's fun, Myron, because when I did the rehearsal, what a big part of the rehearsal was how we all go in. Remember the sound guy Arnaud?
Yeah.
What go first? So when you arrive on this one, we already have like 2 hours thinking about, do we have to do
who goes where?
We go where? We were failing. No, yes, no.
Sometimes I would come in and I would let Lara go in from the corner of my eye, and then I would step in, and then the sound, as I'm panning, the sound guy is coming in, and I stood on him. Bless him, he's an amazing guy. Yeah. And I stood on him, but because I had already planted my foot down, I couldn't back out, or I couldn't take off, you know. So I just kept standing on him for the next sort of minute until I could move. So there was a lot of times we had these moments where, you know, we would get in each other's personal space, and we had to, because piling a sound guy, a focus, a grip, and a camera and plus 65 in the hand with all the actors inside a police van. Of course, you can imagine how much space is left.
We shot 65 because I didn't want to do like the typical urban movie, you know, with wide lens. All those rap video that you see in those suburbs in France, they all made with super wide lens, and they have their own cinematography and visual reference. And I didn't want to make that. I was like, let's bring like a really epic camera because it's a really epic story and movie. It's a Greek tragedy. We need something big. But my plan was like the difference between the Mini LF and the Alexa 65. It's basically all the wide shots. I did them with a 30 millimeters, which is not that wide. But because of the Alexa 65, which is a really interesting camera because it's 3 sensors in a row, and then make a full sensor, you know. So Mini LF, it's, I would say, 2 Super 35 sensor. Alexa Mini, it's 1 sensor, and Alexa 65 is 3 sensor. So the widest lens, it's a 30, which is really interesting because at some point, when you go close to the actor or far away to the actors, you don't have that much distortion, and you get more or less something really close from what you can see with your eyes, which is really important when you want to do something immersive. I didn't want to make, which I love, Birdman or all the work of Chivo, you know, with those wide lens and long take. That was not the plan. With a 30 mil, basically you move and you don't feel the camera movement. And I work a lot with Myron, and I work a lot with Emmerich, and we work a lot with Romain to be able to not feel that much the movement. And suddenly you don't realize, but you're there. And when you pan, you don't get a lot of distortion on the edge. So first plan was Alexa 65. But obviously we needed to use the gimbal to stabilize some shots in the craziness, or some shot in tracking vehicle, or some shot where only Myron can run at that fast, and we cannot put any vehicle. So we needed to use the gimbal. And I have to say that Myron was not there, and we will talk after. It was not just there to do the gimbal. It was fully operate the movie with Emmerich. So basically I say, okay, shit, we need also the gimbal, but then I cannot put the Alexa 65. So I can put the Mini LF. And the Mini LF and the Alexa 65, they have the same sensor technology. So they have the same size of photo seat inside. It's just Alexa 65, it's just a bigger sensor. So basically where we were going from 65 to Mini LF or Mini LF to 65, we were zooming in the sensor first, then matching with the Mini LF, or matching with the Mini LF, then de-zooming to go back to the 65. So it's a really easy trick, and it was possible because the technology of the sensor are the same. Obviously, that you get some small change, but those small change you can adjust them easily in post-production. It's really interesting. It's like you want to do focus, work on being focused, you know, and you know, in 2022, and I really respect all the way to pull focus on set. And it's fine if you want to be sit in the box or whatever it is. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be seated or whatever. I respect everything, but basically it's like being like close to the camera, watching the actors, watching the camera, feel it. You know, at some point, Lara and Myron, they're one. Because Lara, she know the difference with Myron operating and Emmerich operating. She know how they move.
Yeah, because eventually you start to talk with head and blinking language because you're holding the camera.
And also,
and if the focus puller isn't there, you can't communicate. You know,
exactly.
So
and all of that is like condition and being focused.
There's a good, interesting question here. Maybe Lara, you can answer it. Is with the transmission to have picture for. To have picture for those long distances.
Yeah, this was a very big deal during the preparation, also rehearsal in how we're gonna range the signal for Romain and to give the cue, because we know that Romain won't be needed to be fixed in a place to sit and to manage the sequence. So with Jordan, we made a research and finally we took one with a very very good one. It's a Cinearc from England, and I knew we had some friend who used it on Last Mission Impossible in Paris, and it worked very well. So basically, in camera, I was on my monitor. I was with a Teradek,
which has zero latency, right? So
Teradek has zero latency, and I tried to be close as soon as I can from camera, and we build a grip to carry a receptor. With the Cinearc, so
like a relay. It was a relay from Teradek, grip with the antenna on his back, relaying the Cinearc. Yeah.
Running the Cinearc. So this system was on the grip, who was also carry Myron or the Steadicam, so it was very close to the signal, and it works perfectly because Romain has. We never had a video issue with this Teradek and the Cinearc combination.
Yeah.
It's really funny because when Myron came on the show, I said, okay, your position is that one. I want to do everything with 65, and when I cannot, at the end, you're gonna take your gimbal, and you're gonna take the Mini LF. I knew that the cameras going in the cable and the wire was Mini LF, for example. That was I knew some piece, but I knew that there were a lot of room for Myron to express himself as a DPB unit, as a, you know, and he find out a really interesting way of operating the camera, because Emmerich also operates the handheld, but he did the classical one on the shoulder. So he did the last part, which is because he get exactly the same size as the actors. So I said to Emmerich, you're going to do the last part, classical way, because I want it with Romain. We were like, let's have like a really classical handheld at the end. And all the beginning, which is like mixing with like going in the stairs, out of the stairs, going in the ambulance, and going in ambulance and in a police truck. We had to find another way, because you cannot do it handheld on your shoulder, classical. And
you see the walk effect.
Exactly. Yeah. And Myron came and he did like, I think, with all his skills of gimbal and being able to carry 15 kilos like that. Yeah. He did like a big gun, and he was carrying and his arm was doing the same that Steadicam arm in a way, you know. And
the fourth axis. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. We're gonna share some videos soon about how we operate, because it's super interesting. It came from his like big ability to take long time big weights, and but he find a way, and at some point I was like, he find his place, and he was carrying the 65 all the time, and I think you get fun also, you know, and not just
also
doing
with the weight of the 65. It's quite strange with the, you know, when you take a smaller camera, small like an Aleph and it's all built up. It's actually with the handheld, you feel the handheld a lot more. You feel a lot more shaky in the picture. But with the 65, seen as the body is so wide and so big and so heavy, it has a presence. It has a weight to it. So when you're carrying it away from your body, it almost stabilizes itself if you get the balance right, you know. So
it's interesting because
you can run with it. Yeah,
it's why we take the 65 also, because Romain didn't want. And and I'm sure it will be a nice movie. I don't say that this is better than this. It's just our choice. But Romain didn't want to take a really small camera like a Komodo or whatever, and to do this handheld movement and have a lot of freedom, which I would love to redo the movie in that way, because something else gonna appear. But we were like, let's do it in a classical way, cinematic, with a camera with weight, using crane, Steadicam, real handheld, because we wanted that look. And like you say, the first time we did test with Romain told me, I feel how the camera is heavy when I see the shot. And this is what he wants.
Qu'est-ce qui bloque là? Pardon. Mais calmez-la, s'il vous plaît, calmez-la.
Lara, did you use peaking while you were running with the focus?
Yeah, I mean, if I had the peaking on my monitor.
Yeah, I saw there was a question about that.
Yeah. I put peaking, but very, very not too much peaking, because I don't want that disturb my
the skin
judgment.
tone. Yeah.
So I rather to add a little bit, but not too much. So I put generally my peaking at 6. I put 6%, and that's it.
And for interior exterior, we had our second operator, which was also a B unit first operator, Damien Conti, and he has he was basically the iris and ND filter, variable ND filter operator,
and also zoom.
And also zoom, which is a big part, of the long take. So he was running with Lars sometimes, and he was adjusting the aperture as less as possible. So I was not changing the depth of field, but he was also playing with the variable ND that we have in front to be able to go from interior to exterior without changing the iris, and also the zoom. It was a full combination. You know, in the long take like that, it's like Myron has to run, go in the vehicle, and Lara has to do focus. Someone has to manage the iris, the variable ND, the zoom. It's a lot of parameters, and obviously you have to go step by step. And the light, you have to lead everywhere. You know?
There about the bike walk shot where we follow and we step onto the vehicle, back off the vehicle. We actually had a moment there, asking how many times we did it, where we lost connection to the iris, and it would go as we exit the building, bam, overexposed, you know. So there was a lot of times where those sort of little glitches were more of a mistake than losing picture. But how many times did we do that shot? I think it was
do you know that we
23
use
times,
do you know that we use that take?
25, yeah.
Myron, we use that tech when we get overexposed to the tree stop.
And
we manage in post.
I brought it back. Okay.
Because we were shooting 2000 AZ all the time, so I was actually not overexposed. So I came back in 400 AZ and
good thing I didn't give up, because I was like, carry on going.
Good things, thank you. Anyway, Myron, Lara, everywhere, until someone said cut, they were like,
yeah, we just keep going. Yeah.
Exactly.
The resets were too big.
Yeah.
Myron usually goes on rollerblade, but
I didn't skate in this film, not once actually. So there was a lot of running, and the grips were amazing. Seb and his team were fantastic. They were there with all of us. I mean, each person needed a grip basically. There were also more bodyguards than grips. In some of the sequences where we had to run through crowds and we had people pushing grips, kind of diving. It was literally like American football, rugby players.
Some grip as a shield.
It was shields and helmets. We were in there. Sometimes I'm using the camera as a boxing tool. But definitely no rollerblades on this one. A lot of running, a lot of vehicles, stepping on and off. And sometimes even you come out of the shot with a wedgie because the grip has helped you up something, So, yeah, it was a big grip help.
I pinned that beautiful sentences about the great human team, an incredible product comes out.
100%. That was the film. It was a family. Especially for me, I felt like it was my family away from home, because I was the only English-speaking person in France for the whole time. So they really became my friends and my family, and without the team, none of those shots would, and everybody gave input. It wasn't just, we obviously had Romain and Matias being the top of the food chain, but everybody down to the people making a coffee was part of the team and in the film, and without everybody it would have been impossible.
The extra also. They made an amazing job, the extra. They were not non-professional actor, but after 30 days, they were trained to not hit the camera, to how to behave in front of the camera. That's also
some of them even protected the camera during the take. As soon as they were out of the picture, instead of, I usually see extras trying to pop their face in and get some screen time. But these guys, they were great. As soon as they were out of the way, they were kind of pushing people out of your way as camera as well. So everybody was in it,
Yeah, that's funny, because everybody knew also the extra that if we fail, then we have to restart.
We have to go again.
Go again.
There was a question about how many we kind of did. It was usually between 20 and 30 takes per day, I think. What do you guys say?
I'd say that.
Do you want to show your fingers, Lara?
Yeah, it's all here.
Yeah.
But I don't show you my legs because I have no more legs anymore.
We had also the question about the HDR. Maybe we can do a post about that, Matias. Because
I did a conference for Dolby and Netflix about HDR, and I had a big interview about it. So I'm going to share it with you, and I will be happy to answer. It's impossible in 1 hour to go on all the topics. It's just cool to see the community and to talk to everybody, because it's not just sharing video.
We can do also a blog if you want. So we can have more space and more media to attach, because, Instagram is more for fast content,
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I wanna thank you, everyone. Thank you, guys, for this.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Thank
That was
you.
super fun. Yeah,
super fun and super proud to do this. I'm sorry for Aymeric. I'm sure will be another opportunity next time to have him on board. And thanks again to you all, guys, and to everyone for watching. And we are finishing because it's the limit 60 minutes. So yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Manu. And you're also part of the team.
Oh, yeah. Filmmakersworld.
And all the people that like this movie or doesn't like this movie, but talk about the movie, and all the people, and feel free to ask questions. It's a community, so we all learn together. Okay?
Thank you so much.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye,
Ciao.
bye, everyone.